Welcome back to the People Podcast. I am Nasir, and as always, this is where we talk about people, culture, and what genuinely drives performance inside organizations. Today, I want to share something I picked up at a recent event that really stayed with me. I was listening to David Ventura, CEO of Front and Center, speak about organizational growth, and he introduced a very simple framework. He said sustainable growth depends on the alignment of three levers: systems, strategy, and skills. On the surface, it sounds straightforward, but the more I've reflected on it since that event, the more I've realized how often organizations struggle not because they lack ambition, but because those levers aren't aligned. Let me start with systems. And when I say systems, I don't just mean HR software. I mean how your organization actually functions day to day, how onboarding works, how performance is managed, how decisions are made, how accountability is structured. In early stages, businesses grow through energy and speed. Founders drive carries a lot. Decisions are quick. Processes are informal. But as the organization grows, informal processes start creating inconsistency. Managers handle situations differently. Performance conversations become uneven. Data becomes unreliable. Friction appears. That's rarely a motivation problem. It's usually a systems problem. So here's a practical takeaway. Before growth exposes your weakness, audit your core people processes. Ask yourself honestly, if we doubled in size tomorrow, would this still work? If the answer is uncertain, that's where your risk sits. Strong systems don't slow growth down. They stabilize it. Now let's talk about strategy. Most organizations feel confident about their strategy. They've got targets, expansion plans, new services mapped out. But the real question is whether your people capability matches your ambition. If you're planning significant growth, do you have leadership depth? If you're restructuring, have you mapped the workforce impact properly? If you're scaling operations, is your culture ready? I have seen strategy move faster than capability. And when that happens, internal pressure builds. Leaders feel stretched, teams feel unclear, execution slows. So another practical lesson: before launching growth initiatives, do workforce scenario planning. Ask what capability this plan requires. Identify where you are exposed. Be honest about what might break under pressure. Strategy without people alignment creates strain. Strategy with alignment creates momentum. And then we come to skills. This is the lever that resonated with me the most because it's often underestimated. You can invest in systems. You can define strategy clearly. But if managers cannot lead through change, hold effective performance conversations, build trust, coach properly, and use data confidently, growth quietly stalls. Skills are what convert intention into execution. So my last practical takeaway is this. Assess management capability honestly, not based on job title or tenure, but based on behavior under pressure. Observe how leaders respond when things are uncertain. That tells you more than any job description. Then invest intentionally in development because capability sustains growth. What really stayed with me from that event is how simple the idea was. Growth isn't about doing more, it's about aligning better. When systems provide structure, strategy provides direction, and skills provide execution, growth feels intentional, stable, sustainable. When one of those levers is misaligned, growth feels stressful and reactive. Reflecting on this framework, I realized it mirrors how I approach organizations through ethos of HR. The starting point isn't policy, it's alignment. Are your systems built for where you're heading? Is your people's strategy genuinely aligned to your commercial ambition? Are your leaders equipped to deliver? Sometimes that begins with a structured HR audit. Sometimes it's workforce planning. Sometimes it's leadership capability development. But the objective is always the same: ensuring those three levers move together. Because growth doesn't usually fail due to lack of ambition. It fails due to misalignment. So if your organization is entering a growth phase or even preparing for one, pause and ask yourself whether systems, strategy, and skills are truly aligned. That framework genuinely sharpened how I think about organizational growth. And sometimes the simplest lessons create the biggest shift. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.